This week on Upbeat Mama Conversations, we chat to Shelly, and Shelly has an incredible story of how creativity developed in her and how she is using her creativity to help kids today develop their art skills and to develop self-esteem through art. And she gives us some really helpful pointers into how we can do art with our kids and some fun ways for us to implement art projects in our own homes with our kids. I know you're going to love it as much as I did. Welcome, Shelly. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you now officially. And I would love for you to just start by introducing yourself and who you are, especially in like in an artistic sense, because that's what we're talking about at the moment, and about your kids and life and what you do.
So thanks, Pippa. It's so lovely to be part of a community of people who are forging new territories and helping support mums and families. I come from a teaching background. I'm currently not teaching, so that's really, I thankfully took a step just away before COVID hit. I'd been teaching 3 to 4 year olds for the last 5 years before stopping. And my children I've stopped because we needed to move schools and it was just the right time to take a step back from teaching. I have a daughter who's 12 and a son who is 8. And they keep me very busy in the afternoons. And I've always been a creative. I always have a project going, whether it's an embroidery project, whether it's going to some painting lessons, pottery lessons. So I've always had a creative interest. I was horrific at art at school. I remember I went to school in Cape Town and we had to draw pictures on everything. And I remember in standard 2, my teacher, I can still remember her, and she would sort of say, "Oh, Shelly, I think you need to do a bit better on that." So I was never artistic, and it was quite hard. I remember that now, 40 years later, or 30 years later, that I couldn't draw, and that I always had to do better. And I couldn't write neatly. And now I've got lovely handwriting, and I love to be creative. I wouldn't necessarily say I couldn't draw a sketch of you. I'm not very good at sort of drawing a picture, but I can take something and make it mine. I can do some watercolor paintings. And so I love hosting as well. That's my other thing, is I love hosting. And so I have started hosting Make and Create sessions with kids that we do an inexpensive come and create with me. I set up a table, I set up a couple of projects that we work on for an hour, and come and just be at my table. Welcome to my table. So I often call it my magpie table because it's got bits and bobs. And we always have a project that we're working, or a sort of an end product. But a lot of it's about process and about being together and what the kiddies get out of it in their own personal capacity. So for me, it's an engaging with children, which is what I love, but only for a short period of time. It's not an ongoing long thing. It's just a snippet of time, but the process and the journey together.
That's amazing. And I love how you're saying that you weren't artistic in school and, that and yet here you are today, actually just fully in this artistic realm, just doing amazing things and inviting children into that process that is non-threatening, which is not what you experienced at school. So actually rewriting a new story for so many children, which I think is so exciting.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I remember being told when I was teaching, my classroom always looked so pretty because of my artwork. And it was always, and I taught the youngest group. And the thing about it was process. And because it was process art, at the end of the day, we use stages. And so we'd only work on one stage. But I also like things to look nice. And I think children need to turn around and go look at their picture and go, "Oh, I did that. And it looks good."
Yeah. So you're talking about a balance of things here that maybe you can just unpack for us a little bit. You're talking about a finished product and you're also talking about a process. So I don't know if everyone is familiar with the term sort of process art, but we're holding these two things in tension. Can you maybe unpack them a little bit?
Super. So process art is where you really are focusing on on the process, on the start, not this is our end goal. We are going to do a picture and we are going to end up with a painting of a cat that is sitting on a tablecloth, and it looks like A, B, and C. What I will do is I love doing what they love. And so and kids love just making, and they love just painting freely, and they love having their own ideas. Interestingly, some children need the direction and the rules to feel safe in. So they need to know, they will say to me, oh, how do I paint this? So I will give them a tray, and I have over here my favorite trays where they work in, and it's just a plastic A4 tray, because it contains things, and it gives them a boundary. So and then that's where they can work. And then it's a case of, okay, now you can do, so in that, I would then set up some paint that they would then finger paint with. So the process is painting with your fingers, and then they wash their hands, and then they will put a piece of paper down on that, pick it up, and they have made a print. And there is such satisfaction for them, because there's no rule in how, the only rule is that they move their fingers how they want to. And your more tentative children will go, oh, is that enough? Or how much more? And then other kids, your ones who are just quite happy to climb in, they're just like, woohoo, nobody's telling me what to do. Nobody's telling me to stop. Nobody's telling me. And then I'd say, oh, should we add some more paint? Or hold on, I think you've got a gorgeous picture now. Or that's an amazing pattern. Let's stop, pick your hands up, and let me quickly do a print. And then you can go again. So, and I will do stages. So we often have different stages, sort of little setups, a couple of those trays set up. One will be also with bubble paper, bubble wrap. So I cut an A4 piece of bubble wrap, stick it in the bottom of the tray. And then it's a case of, there you go, here, choose it. Can you paint it with the brush? And then I'll say, okay, but what colors? And it's a case of, well, you can choose, because all we're going to do is put it in the water at the end of it, and we'll start again. So very much allowing them, giving them a very clear, we're now painting bubble wrap, but it's your choice. So I am a little bit sneaky though. I won't put colors together that make a puffy color.
Clever. That's where the skill.
I'm quite controlling. It's like, don't put out blue, yellow, and red Play-Doh. Don't do it. Put out pink, purple, and red Play-Doh. Put out paint that is purple and red, a pink. So if you're going to choose, and also choose a color palette, so that you have got a nice color palette. You're setting them up for success.
Yeah.
So, and then because you want to be able to look around and go, oh my gosh, I love the colors you chose from my palette of small colors.
So you're keeping a light touch on it, which I think is interesting, allowing them freedom, but stepping in as they need it, which I think when you're a mom, you know your child and you understand their little personalities, and whether they need that structure or whether they need that freedom. But your planning, what I'm hearing now is your planning is there so that you can have as light a structure as needed, or to step in more. And I think that does take skill.
And it takes a couple of messy play dates, or things going awry. And I always remember when I was teaching, somebody was a lovely teacher who said, when everything feels out of control, check what you've done to make it out of control. Check what you haven't controlled. And so if things are feeling chaotic, it's okay to say, hold on, we're going to just stop. Mom just wants to pull this in. Can I just take this? And don't be scared to say, hold on, I think this isn't working for us. Because probably they're not feeling it either. So it's not being scared of just saying, hold on, we're just going to stop there. Yeah.
You were talking a bit earlier about what you love to see art develop in children. And I'd love you to just speak about why art is important for kids.
This is, I think for me, this is the thing that makes my heart like just, it's so important to me, is the self-esteem, and it's your self-confidence. And I think in today's society, we've got kids who are battling with anxiety, and they're battling with so many, with expectations and that. And so for me, art, especially process art, where there's not a comparison of, oh, your bubble printing didn't come out like my bubble print. I mean, bubble printing is bubble printing. You can't fail at bubble printing unless you do it brown. But if you're painting a hedgehog, brown bubble printing is perfect. So for me, it's all about self-esteem. And when you see kiddies producing something that just makes them feel so proud of themselves, and feeling, oh, I did that and I succeeded. And because it's not in product based, the comparison isn't there. So I have to just say, I would use the bubble printing as part of an end product. So I will take my bubble printing and we will then cut it out and use it to make a hedgehog. And so I might, so there's always the end product that they will love. But the process as well, where they feel they're in control, it's giving them that sense of control. But also it's such a tactile thing. And when you speak to your senses and you're working with your senses, it's a bit like singing and dancing. It makes your heart sing. And so for me, art so often is just, it's the process of it, of being creative, is so good for our inner being, and our sort of assurance that we can do things.
Yes, I love that.
Like reading, you can't read, and you can look at it and go, I didn't know what that word was. But with art, you can paint. Everyone can pick up a paintbrush.
Well, now I feel very inspired to go do that as well. Go pick up a paintbrush, but I might come to one of your art workshops first, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, in today's day and age, I'm just thinking, I mean, my little boy is 18 months now, and I want to support his creativity, and I'm learning about his own individual little makeup and his personality, and it's so fun. But I'm so aware that in our busy lifestyles, there are things that can actually limit creativity in our children. And how do you see that playing out?
So it's that in product, there's so many sort of lovely, you get your Melissa and Doug amazing things where you take your water and you go over it and you've got this beautiful end product. So it's the product at the end of it. It's also time we don't have. We're so busy, and a lot of moms are working, or we've all got a hustle going on. We're all trying to do a thing, and but also be the best mom. But that means doing all the things, and so it's a time factor. And as we've spoken about, is that it's having the time to do the quick creatives, where it just and it doesn't have to be big art sessions. Sometimes it can just be popping them in the bath and getting bath crayons, or even just, so it's finding ways to fill up a creative bucket in your routines. So it would be, and also having a different supply. So having different resources available. Things like on your sliding door is sticking up a Ziploc bag of hair gel with a bit of nursery dye in it, and just having that as a quick, let's go and see, can you see if there are any birds in the garden outside? Can you go rub it around and see if you can make? So it's trying to work on the quick fixes. Yes. As we were saying, like when you're busy and you need to dash off and leave them, they're the TV times, and then it's like, how else can we do this? So whether it's taking some wool and weaving it around, like rolling it around a toilet roll with some double-sided tape on it, and then googly eyes like are a go-to in any box of stuff. Just have some googly eyes and you can make anything into a something.
That is the best tip of the week.
And double-sided tape is a win. That's the other thing. Double-sided tape is such a win because, and you can get it literally from the crazy store. You don't need expensive stuff because it means you don't have to get the glue pot out. And the glue pot means a mess.
So what I think is so freeing here is if I'm wanting to support creativity in my child, I don't have to have these elaborate art projects planned out. I can just, whatever is going to work in the moment, just little things, just getting it out, stuff that's going to fit in with our lifestyle, in our busyness, in our busy moments, but you can still make it happen. And it can be still meaningful artistic moments or artistic expression displayed in busy moments.
Absolutely. And including your fine motor. So you I have such a passion for fine motor and learning through. So as we were chatting there, and you said in the busy moments, is also having pipe cleaners and beads. And also, you know what, kids like us to get and make a fuss. So you can literally quickly pop them down with pipe cleaner and a bowl of beads and then get them to thread it. Obviously, once they're not putting beads in their mouth and choking, because that'll just not help creativity whatsoever. And then just putting it on their wrist and displaying it on them. Oh my gosh, a little bit of it. And oh my goodness, look, you made a beaded necklace. Look, we'll put it on your arm, or let's put it around your foot, or can we put it on a bear, And it's our response to their creation. And I think that's the other thing. It's how we respond and teach them the value of what they've created.
Last week I was speaking to another art teacher, and for her, she said art is about creating a sense of wonder, and it's we the ones who have to actually model that. That's what you're saying now. Wonder, modeling that sense of wonder, and oh my goodness, look what an incredible thing you've done here, and that immediately feeds into building that self-esteem that you were talking about. That is so important, and into that creative process ultimately.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, this has been so exciting. I wish we could carry on talking for another hour. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to come and do a make and create session so that we can carry on chatting. But I think this was really valuable, just little pointers, and just making me as a mom, and hopefully other moms, just feel a bit more confident and inspired to go out there and just get some pipe cleaners or some wool and a toilet roll, and that we can do this and we can make it happen. So thank you for inspiring us and for having this chat with us today.
Thanks so much. That's just amazing.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, like, comment, and press the bell thingy so that every time we have some content, you'll be notified straight away.